Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are you this morning? Thank you so much for joining Show Me the Shift with Coach Lenora, and I am Coach Lenora. And today's episode is being brought to you by the Victorious Movement, my online community that is full of wonderful people who all encourage, support, and motivate each other. We are a community where I, as the life coach, pour into people in the areas of motivation, of law of attraction, of how to monetize your accounts, how to build up your accounts and get to a number of followers that may unlock some things for you in the different platforms that are out here. We just talk about an abundance of things. And so based on that, if you are interested, you could just Google thevictoriousmovement.com to find out more. But today's episode, I'm really excited to talk about because we are going to cover hiring process. I have over 25 years of talent acquisition experience. And so therefore, I wanted to share some information that has just been kind of mind-boggling to me of late because I guess because I'm so involved, I was not aware of the fact that there are a lot of people who don't understand how job postings work in regards to how the description is written out, what the description means, what is it saying? It looks like Greek to a lot of people. And I think because of the fact that I have been on the kind of inside track and behind the curtain of it, it hasn't really impacted me. Like I totally understand what leaders and HR professionals all try to say in the job description, but there are a lot of candidates who don't. And so based on that today, I'm just going to give 5 quick tips of how you can decipher a job description to determine, hey, is this a job I'm really qualified for? What is this company really all about? What are they standing for? And is this something that I even want to apply to? So we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started with these 5 tips. And so basically, one of the things that I like to share with people is that the job description is kind of like your cheat sheet to the company when you think about it. A lot of times the job description will have information out there like who the company is, what they're all about, maybe a blurb about what they've done in the community or things that they're passionate about. And so if you're applying to a job, it would be really important to read what those things are. Sometimes it's in the header or the footer of the job description, but it gives you kind of an inside track of what's important to that company. And it can also at the same time give you the opportunity to say, hey, when I'm in an interview, because you can't say if I get selected, right? Let's manifest that when I am in the interview, I can go ahead and ask, oh, I saw that on your job posting, you mentioned blah, 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 right? You mentioned all your philanthropic work. And so based on that, how can I, as a new employee, be able to get involved, participate, do something to that nature, right? And then that can help you. Again, it's giving you the inside track of what's important to that company. So it's not the end all be all most important thing, but I just like to let people know that that job description is a cheat sheet. It gives you all the details and everything you need, not only about what you're applying to, but a little bit about the company, what's important to them, right? So that's first and foremost. The other thing I will share is that the title that's on the job description, a lot of people are thinking that if it doesn't have a title that they've actually worked in, that they can't apply to that job. And every company calls various titles different things. So you can't assume that, oh, this company calls it, I've been a analyst, let's say, and this company calls it a project manager coordinator. And it sounds exactly like an analyst to you, but it doesn't really fit that description in regards to the title. Like, let's not get too bogged down by the title and have it where because we hear a certain title, we're thinking, we're not qualified. Read the description. Find out what the job is saying are the requirements. And then based on that, make a determination of, I do meet these requirements. And even though the title wasn't the title I was expecting, I'm probably still qualified for that role, right? So look beyond that. It's going to be different depending on the industry and depending on the company, right? Everybody calls everything, every type of title something different, okay? The other thing is responsibility. So the responsibilities of the job are going to be those action verbs that you're going to find on the job posting, right? It's going to be those things that it tells you how many years of experience that they need, what type of work this person is going to be doing. So when you are deciding whether or not to apply to the job, first of all, I highly recommend not to throw spaghetti at the wall and just say, hey, I'm going to apply to everything. I want to work for this company, so I'm going to apply to everything. Be strategic. Figure out what it is that you're truly qualified for and then apply to those jobs. Because number one, you don't want to be that candidate that as the recruiter sees your name come across their desk, they're like, here they go again, applying again. We know they're not qualified for 90% of the things that they apply to because they applied to everything we post. So therefore, you have to kind of make sure you're being strategic and say, look, I'm truly qualified for this. I'm going to throw my name into the hat, right? Even if I would say you are 70% qualified for it, because a lot of times what people do when it comes to the qualifications, and that's the other step, is that a lot of people say, oh, it has all these things listed as preferences, right? Preferred that you have this certification, preferred that you have gone to this, I don't know, workshop, webinar, something that you have done that shows that you're preferred to be the candidate that they could hire into that role. However, the preferences don't matter as much as the true bare bone qualifications of the job. The preferences are nice to haves, and often they're things that even can be trainable or coachable. But those things that are day one, come in the door, absolutely must have, those are the things that if you have those skills and you feel as though your qualifications can warrant you applying to that role, the preferences are nice, right? It's where the leader maybe has that unicorn kind of, purple unicorn candidate in mind, or some people call it purple squirrel, whatever. But that one person that if they hit all these things, they'll be amazing. Leaders know they may only get 70 to 80%, like the 80-20 rule, right? You'll get about 80% of what you're looking for coming in the door. And the 20% you may have to teach or train somebody. And so just know when it comes to the responsibilities of the role, figure out whether or not you truly have the skill sets to be able to align with what it is that they're looking for. And then for the qualifications, do you meet those minimum qualifications of the job? One of the things that through research I've found is that women will often discount themselves for an opportunity. It's 60% more than a man will discount themselves from that same opportunity. So they could have the exact same skill set. And what men will do is say, well, I'll take a chance. If I get rejected, it's okay. And then you'll have women who are like, well, no, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm not going to go ahead and take that extra step. I'm just going to, pass this one up, go to the next one where I look as though I'm 90, 95, 100% qualified. And so that's just another kind of layer that goes into all of this. So I even have something in one of my workshops where I talk about think like a man, like think like a man when you apply as a woman. Just go through and just say, you know what? Yes, I might get rejected. Yes, it might sting a little bit, but this too shall pass and I'll be okay because at least I threw my name in the hat. And what if it does work out? Instead of always thinking from a perspective of what if it doesn't? Well, what if it does, right? Okay. And then the last thing we'll talk about is soft skills. So these are the behaviors that most employers, think are really important, right? Being a team player, having great communication skills, whether it is oral communication skills or written communication skills, someone who is coachable, teachable, knowledgeable about certain things. So these are things that you can't quite tangibly find out if a person has when you do a background check. You can't find out if a person has just from seeing a resume. People will put those things on their resume and align it up accordingly. But I would say that that's another thing just to kind of think through and see, okay, what are the soft skills that this company is saying is important to them? And what those things are can help you to get more of an understanding about how this particular role will play out as well, right? So if they have certain soft skills about presenting and speaking in front of people, and for a fact that you're like, oh, all of this job is amazing, but that speaking in front of people part is the part that I just am anxious about or nervous about. you can determine whether or not you want to apply to it, but you have to take into true consideration that this is what they are looking for. This will be a part of your job. And sometimes it's not always about, applying to a role so that they can choose you. Sometimes and oftentimes what we have to do is realize we need to choose this company too. We need to make sure that this company, this role and position is the right fit for us. So on that note, those are the 5 things. So I'll go over them really quickly again. This is actually from a presentation that I have in my Victorious Movement community that I've already shared with my folks over there. But again, it is the summary of the job description. What does the job description say? Also, what insights does that give you into the company, who they are, their culture, and what is important to them, right? Number 2, the title. The title of the job does not matter as much because it can vary from various corporations and various industries. So just keep that in mind. Number 3, what are the core responsibilities of that role? What are they saying are the bare bone 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience? We need you to come in the door with these particular things. And sometimes it is a certification, right? It's a required certification to come in. It's no need to apply if you don't have that required certification. You don't have those minimum years of experience. However, if the preferences, which are the other qualifications, number 4, that they are looking for are things that are coachable, trainable, things that are more of the skills that you really don't necessarily need to have coming into the door, but that they can teach you on, then I would say don't let that hinder you or hold you back. Go ahead and apply to the role and let the chips fall where they may, right? And then lastly, the soft skills. So what are those soft skills that a person can bring to the table based on what the job description states they are looking for? So on that note, I hope everybody can take something from this conversation. If you are not familiar with how to go about reading job descriptions, figuring out what they're asking for, what does it all mean? Hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight in regards to that step of the process. If you have any questions at all, feel free to send me a DM. Otherwise, that is it for today's episode of Show Me the Shift. Hopefully this is shifting your perspective in regards to everything with applying to new opportunities. And I know there are a lot of people out here who are looking for jobs, looking for that next promotion, are actually laid off. We're very close to DC. And I know that there's a lot of people who have been laid off and are looking for that next wonderful company for them to work at. And so hopefully some of the tips and strategies and information insights that I give during this Show Me the Shift episode will help you out in various ways. So that's the good thing about this show. It's going to be about hiring. It's going to be about purpose. It's going to be about even AI, monetizing. We're going to talk about it all. It's all about shifting perspective, everybody. So have an amazing rest of your day. Take care. And remember, this was brought to you by thevictoriousmovement.com. Take care.